Hello there, YouTube land.
Welcome back.
Today we thought we'd talk about a newer vampire film.
Newer than what we usually talk about.
So we're going to talk about Dracula Untold.
With Luke Evans as Dracula. One thing that really stood out for me is that he actually portrayed a very good Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of his progression from a ruling entity to I have to save my kingdom, my way of life. I'm going to go find, this ancient tale and walk into a cave.
Yeah, and actually come across a vampire.
A very ancient vampire. I mean, they did an excellent job with him.
Oh, they did. And he was sufficiently creepy, is the way I would put it.
Yes.
Because not only was the ancient vampire, this strong supernatural being, but you definitely got the idea of the crazed, immortal being.
With a hint of sophistication.
Yes.
That was the thing. That was his one little, I guess, reach back to humanity.
Mm-hmm.
I did enjoy kind of that back scene to what they, wanted with Vlad's life.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was done very well. The whole sequences, he loved his wife, he loved his son.
Mm-hmm.
But we kind of get into that same realm that we get into with other Dracula movies. And if you've heard our take on Bram Stoker's Dracula, you kind of get the same thing here. It turns into, unfortunately, at the end, a romance.
Which I thought was a shame because this movie had done a really good job of separating itself all up until the last 10 minutes of the movie, where they randomly tacked on the reincarnation thing and bum. And it was like, what in the hell did they do that for?
Yeah.
I don't know if it was, something to try and connect with fans of the Coppola film or what, but I thought it was a really just a bleh type thing.
Yeah, and it almost reminded me a little bit of Dracula 2000.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get into kind of the other Dracula movies, the ones that they brought it into the more modern realm, you still get that little reincarnated thing.
And again, I just don't know why. I understand that it's kind of this idea of bringing together something about Dracula that is not this monster and whatnot. But the first Dracula film that actually did this was Dracula in 1979 starring Frank Langella. That was the first film that gave the idea that Dracula had seen something in his former wife to become his mate in this life. So,
yes.
Prior to that, none of that existed.
None of that existed, and I like little touches here and there, but I really wish they would come out with something that was truer to Dracula becomes a monster.
Yes. And that's kind of the point, that you see this creature that is, having been around for hundreds of years, and he is evil. He has been made evil because of what he became. So, when you negate that with, oh, he's a monster, but yet he's in love with this woman, that muddies the waters.
It does. And it doesn't, to me, it doesn't lend to the story as much as it can. Now, getting back into Dracula Untold, I did enjoy almost the seamless CG with it, with his effects, like the bats, the calling,
Yes. They did a very good job with that.
The magic was, it was there. And it was seamless.
Yeah. So that's one of the few times that CGI actually worked very well.
And I think that it also lent to, it gave you where you kind of got hints of the impaling parts. Mm-hmm. This gave you the upfront in your face. Exactly. This is what it's like.
The sad thing about this film that I always think of when I watch it, though, is that this was supposed to be the first film in the new awakening of the Universal Monsters thing.
Yes.
And since after the movie they made of The Mummy, the whole thing got scrapped, for me it's just kind of a shame that the project didn't come to fruition, because I would have liked to have seen, the creature from the Black Lagoon and,
Yes.
that type of thing, and a new imagining of the Wolfman and so on and so forth. Even though the other Wolfman movies, the remake is well done, it just would have been nice to see the project come to fruition.
Which I think some of that got, kind of bungled up in all the strikes and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and all, there were so many things that have happened,
Yeah.
and it just, unfortunately, fell by the wayside.
But, Dracula Untold is an interesting addition to the Dracula collection.
It gives you more backstory into, that portion of what everybody thinks of is Dracula, like the movie, which we have talked about.
Yes.
It gives you that back portion that I think that you kind of want to know about.
And I thought it was actually a really interesting idea to tap into how did Dracula become a vampire, because that doesn't exist in canon at all.
No.
And, while I'm sure Bram Stoker kind of had the thought in his head, because he didn't write Dracula from Dracula's point of view, he couldn't really get into that, and because it would be all backstory.
Because we stepped away from Dracula in terms of Judas and Dracula in terms of falling from favor from God, and we step more into where did this ancient vampire come from?
Yeah.
What's his story?
And that part was really interesting, and I really enjoyed that whole sequence in this film. And I would like to see somebody challenge filmmakers to actually make that story. Like, it's a full film.
Yes.
Like, actually do a full Dracula backstory in terms of, like, literally how he became a vampire. Not that, just he was cursed and but a bum. No, how did he become a vampire? Because there's more to vampirism than just magic or whatever.
Right. I mean, what was the backstory of this ancient?
Yeah.
Who was he?
So I really think that would be an entertaining film, and I think a lot of vampire lovers would really like to see that.
Yes, well done.
Yes, well done. That's important.
Not rushed, not...
No. And, of course, besides that, we would still like a actual version of Dracula.
Of Dracula. Not the romanticized version, but the version that shows even his descent kind of into madness and into the monster. So, those are our thoughts.
Comment down below with what ideas you would like to see in a Dracula film.
Let us know if there are any other Dracula films you would like us to review.
And until next time.
Bye!